what is it that you think we're particularly known for? Because the international fashion world is so competitive, and you think of Paris Fashion Week, you think of Milan, you think of New York, and there's huge designer brands coming out of those markets as well. I mean, where do we sit and fit within that?
I think the UK, be it retailers or the manufacturers, have always invested in young design talent. I think we produce and we nurture young designers. More importantly, we take chances with them. And so I think it is that young, innovative, slightly, often very edgy design that really starts everything off.
Absolutely, I agree with that. If you look at kind of London is always the hot spot, the talking point, in effect, of the big four catwalks when we come around seasonally. Because we do back those young designers, perhaps sometimes slightly offbeat, more edgy designers, but it's about bringing that innovation to the floor, and that comes very much from our history and our textile history and our kind of almost rag trade when you come through to kind of the more commercial end. But it's about kind of really sort of having that movement and that traction, and that is what people want from us globally. They want us, they want to look to us, they want to be able to adopt and adapt trends globally kind of from that sense, I think.
I think building on this, when I was working in North America, we would look at, and a few years ago, the Milans and the Parises and the New Yorks are highly important, and the UK was not as important. It would be sort of, well, shall we miss this out? And many buyers would say that. Now, in the last 4 or 5 years, it's really been, well, we've got to go to London. London has now been rejuvenated, and I think that's critically important. So it's the buyers who are the ones that are going to bring in the merchandise across the globe.
Yeah. It's interesting you've touched on designers. I mean, what's actually happened in the UK with our design? Is it as strong now as it's ever been, or is it even stronger? I mean, what's actually happened? Is it, because Derek, you touched on it as well, about our young designers are quite an important part of the success story of British fashion.
There is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to support the young designers and to bridge that gap between pure talent, raw talent, and commerciality. A lot of investment, a lot of people's time, and I think that bears fruit. They are able to grow, so that talent is able to come out into a commercial world.
Yeah.
If you look at someone like Christopher Bailey, where he came from and where he is now, I mean, he was a young designer who came into fashion school, and he went into Burberry as the chief designer, and now he's the chief executive of a billion and whatever it is size organization. Huge credit to the institute, and I think the fashion schools do a phenomenal job here, and the people who work within the fashion schools.
An important point, I guess, is these designers aren't just gravitating to the big brands. I mean, they're being employed by sort of mainstream high street but mass market retailers right through the whole spectrum.
Absolutely. So that the heritage that is taught from kind of a design school, we have some of the strongest design schools in the globe, and having that sort of flexibility for people to go out into the industry. I think what will be interesting is we've been hearing kind of conversations about British manufacturing and trying to rejuvenate that over the more recent years, is that actually there is this shift towards trying to get more vocation out of kind of in roles and backing by the government. One thing that I see when I go around and look at brands kind of more at trade shows, and while I've looked at retail kind of globally, and even kind of just while I'm off, as in places like Sheffield, where I'm from, is there's this real kind of want from students and young design brands to be able to capitalise on our history of manufacturing and perhaps work in new hybrid ways and be clever, because they don't strictly have the access there at the moment, to kind of really think about kind of moving forward in that way. And I think that's really exciting if we back that as the economy needs to.